Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bookmarked Chapter 9. Today we are talking about BookTube Consumerism and everything that comes with that. We are also joined with a very special guest and also our first ever BookTuber of the week. Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. I'm Read with Cindy. I make really bad videos, and this is my first live show. So I'm excited to be here and probably have this be my last live show since you guys probably won't invite me after this. So, hi.
Oh, I'm Zoe. Hello. You're on my channel. Hey, Zoe. Oh my gosh, our channel name's gonna like go there, Cindy.
I know. Yeah.
We're meant to be. Oh my goodness. And then we have
I am Hannah. My channel is a Clockwork Reader.
And I'm Hailey. My channel is Hailey in Bookland.
We should start with what we are currently reading. I'm still currently reading the same two books I was last week because these are my final 2 weeks of university, so I've been very busy with that. But I'm currently reading China Rich Girlfriend by Kevin Kwan. Oh, hello.
We can still hear you.
Yeah, that's okay. You by Caroline Kepnes. What are you currently reading, Cindy?
I started reading Shadow and Bone on a plane ride today because Kat from Paperback Dreams and I are co-hosting a Grisha read-along to prepare for King of Scars. So this is my first time reading Grisha trilogy, so I just started, and I'm excited to see what I think about it.
I am currently not reading anything because I have been very busy with life and a terrible booktuber. So what's new? Nothing.
I am currently still reading The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, which I feel like I've been reading for like 3 weeks now, so that's a time. And then I'm also listening to the audiobook for Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst.
Ooh, that's on my TBR.
I've had it forever. I've had it since it came out, and I was finally like, I need to do it. And I'm halfway through, and I'm really liking it. So far, so good.
Is the audiobook good?
It is, yeah. It's enjoyable.
Okay, cool.
What is
Oh, we lost her again.
Okay.
Oh, Zoe.
And then there was
Zoe, we lost you. Well, I guess so. If you guys have any questions, while Zoe is buffering, please tweet them to us with the hashtag bookmarked, or you can put them in the chat below. I think she might be back. Is she back?
She's back, but she's silent.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
When I don't want to participate in a live chat anymore, I'm just gonna like pretend to freeze and be silent and then see.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah. Zoe has it down. Is she talking?
Do that on live chats, do that in real life. It works every time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we can't hear you, Zoe. I don't know if you want to leave and then come back. So then we can maybe hear your beautiful voice again. But we cannot hear you at all. So.
Oh man.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
I hear a heartbeat.
Amazing.
I'm having Wi-Fi problems, so I'm sorry if this is kind of a messy live show, but we have some really interesting things we're going to talk about today. So hopefully I'm around long enough to talk about it. Okay.
You invited me, so it's already going to be messy.
So BookTube consumerism. Let's just talk about what is that and how do we feel about that? I feel, I'm not sure. There are several sides to this argument. The first side is we do have a platform and there are younger viewers who might not have their own income, feeling pressured to have as many books as us and might sacrifice things that they actually need, necessities, in order to buy books. I heard from, I think it was on your video, Cindy, that there was someone who was only eating ramen to buy hardcovers?
Yeah. So I saw a booktuber's video, Book Me Scotty, where she was saying that an issue that she had with BookTube was BookTube vanity, where we kind of glorify hardcover books. And she felt like when she started her channel, in order to succeed, she needed to have those hardcover books, but she couldn't afford that. So there were a lot of days where she would just eat like ramen for several days just so that she could afford it. And it really sucks to hear that because I'm like, girl, it doesn't have to be this way, you know?
And Cindy, you mostly go to the library, right?
Yeah, pretty much all of the books that I talk about and all of the books that I read are exclusively from the library. If I do own a book, like I only own 5 books now. I used to own 4, but I won a giveaway recently. So now I'm basically a hoarder with 5 books.
You leveled up.
I know. I'm a sellout, really. But I've never bought any books. So any of the books I own, they're just gifts or I got them from giveaways. But other than that, they're all from the library. I mean, Shadow and Bone, I got it from the library. So yeah. And you can tell in my videos too, because if I hold up a book, there's like that ugly glare, you know, and the sticker and everything. So yeah, I own up to it.
But I feel like your videos are still like booktuber quality. Like you're still able about the books, and you even have like your Instagram, which is like pretty, and you have like books in it. So I think you don't need to really own that many books. But there's also the other side of the argument, which is it's our money, and if it's extra income, should we be told how to spend our own money? So what do you think about it, Hannah?
Sorry, I was not expecting you to say my name.
Oh, sorry. I put you on the spot.
Oh,
It's okay, just read and not say anything.
oh my God.
I mean, I obviously like see like the points of both sides, but I think it's just really important to point out that like the culture of BookTube in general, with the amount of books that were sent, and how much some of us read and everything, it kind of lends itself to allowing people to own more books in some ways. But at the same time, like I understand how that like seems like people are just like buying a bunch of books and maybe not reading those books and like whatever. Like obviously people can do whatever they want with like the books they own. But like the thing is, I feel like it doesn't really, I don't understand why it's like someone else's business what someone chooses to do with like the money that they have. Like if you like to go to the library, you should go to the library. But if you also like to collect books, you should be allowed to collect books without anyone like questioning that. But also like going to the library, as like Cindy is proof, like that doesn't not make you a booktuber. Like you can clearly do all of the things that any other booktuber who's buying a bunch of books can do, and you can do them just as easily. And I think that like the reason I love your channel so much, Cindy, and some of your videos is because like you're solid proof of that. Like you don't have to do all those like traditional booktube things in order to be a successful booktuber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry.
I think right now there's like, it's almost like in the real world, if you bought all these books because you love books, no one would question you. No one would be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, why are you buying all these books? And I think the thing that bugs me the most is the fact that there's like this expectation that I have to explain myself whenever I'm buying books. Like, I remember back when earlier this year, I did a bunch of unhauls, and then someone commented and was like, I don't understand you, why you're getting all these books when you just did an unhaul. And I responded and I said, well, I got rid of books that I had gotten and then I realized I wasn't really interested in, which is obviously a problem, but I mean, it happens sometimes. So I got rid of a bunch of them so then I could get new books. And then they were like, no, but I still don't get it, blah, blah, blah. And I sat there and I was like fuming. And then I was like, why am I explaining where I am spending my money to this random person that I don't even know? I just think that the fact that the person felt like they were owed an explanation, like I kind of had to realize I don't owe anyone anything. I can buy books if I want to. I can be like, use the library, whatever. It's just whatever you do. I don't know why people would concern themselves with what someone else is doing, you know?
Oh no, Zoe.
No, she's muted again.
Oh no. Well, I can try to chime in until she gets her voice back.
Yes, please do.
Well, I've actually lost my train of thought. Okay, so FYI, I'm running on 3 hours of sleep right now. So if I sound more stupid than I usually do, that's just my excuse. But something that I kind of wonder when I hear so many people question why other booktubers consume so many books or like collect so many books is I wonder if we question other people for other types of collections. Like, you know how people collect vinyl records or like coasters or whatever, like little souvenirs when they go on travels or whatever. I feel like we don't really question why people do that. Or like, you know, when you have some kind of nerdy hobby where you collect a bunch of figurines or have like a whole shelf of that, we don't really, I don't know, we don't really shame people for that. Whereas you guys feel like you have to explain yourselves if you buy a lot of books. And I wonder if it's because book collections are not a mainstream form of collecting something. Because I do view the whole BookTube consumerism as not an issue, but rather just a different way of approaching your bookish habits. So some people, you know, some people really like books because they really like reading and the experience of that. That's me. But then other people care more about owning the books and collecting it and building their own collection, which is rewarding in itself. That's not something that I subscribe to, but it's definitely a valid form of a hobby because, again, it's another form of collecting something, like how people collect coasters or vinyl records or figurines or other random shit. So I don't see like why people get so, I don't see why people question about it because like I've watched your channels. I've watched tons of booktubers that have like bookshelves in the backgrounds and haul like 20 books a month. And I've never questioned why they do that. Because when I watch a video, I'm just here to hear what they say about the books and how they feel about it, or I just watch it for their personality. It's not about like, how many books do you own? Like, do you own enough books or do you own too many books? I think that kind of thinking is a bit narrow-minded and not the point of what BookTube should be about. So
for sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
hello
Yes.
again. But like you were saying, I think there's a difference between being a reader and being a book collector, in my mind at least. And personally, I am both. But I think also we do need to keep in mind, I'm going to keep on saying this, we do need to keep in mind that we do have influence. And
sure.
I think just being transparent with where we're getting our books and making sure that we're not saying, like, even not like directly saying that you need all of these books to be a reader or to be a booktuber, because we get so many comments that are, oh, I can't be a booktuber because I only have used books or I only have paperback books. And personally, I love paperback books. I love going to my used bookstore. But I don't always say that. I just, in my hauls, I'm just like, I got this book, but I don't really say where I got them. But I do get a lot used. But I think that's something that I should be more, sorry, I myself. That was weird. I do need to be more clear about that. But also, I think personally, I do have a book buying problem, and that is something that I am trying to address more in 2019. And I'm trying to kind of put myself on a book buying ban challenge thing, because when I get anxious, when I get
Oh no.
When she gets what?
No. Oh no.
Will we ever know?
We will never know. Oh, she looks so pensive. Oh, are you back?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. What did I laugh?
Oh
my gosh.
God. We're losing her. Okay. Well, I guess we'll move on while she's loading.
I mean, I was gonna say something off of like what she was saying. Like sorry, now I'm losing my train of thought. But wait, no, Zoe's back.
What did I even say last?
I think you were about to say anxious and depressed.
Okay, when I'm not having a good mental health day, I go on to Amazon and I'll buy books to make myself feel better. That's basically what I was saying. So, y'all go.
I mean,
but how is that
different
different from? Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
How is that different from someone feeling depressed and then deciding to go shopping or buy like junk food or whatever?
Exactly.
You know, I don't understand why you should feel guilty about spending money on books because I mean, isn't that the point of having money so that you can spend it on things that you enjoy? And of all things you can spend money on, books are like a pretty good thing to spend money on.
Yeah. And Zoe's here twice.
Hello,
oh my God, what's a fake one?
She's duplicating. Oh my God. But to add to that,
too.
Mackenzie Bryn Rapp in the chat a while ago mentioned the fact that you're supporting artists and writers that you like, which I think is a major thing. Like, when I'm buying a book, I'm also supporting an artist, and that doesn't mean that you have to buy the book, but it is like, I feel like, not that excuses it, but like, if you have a problem with it, maybe you can be okay with it by the fact that you're like supporting an author that you really like.
Yeah, I mean, there are like multiple ways to support artists that you like going to the library still supports like,
exactly,
authors
yeah,
and everything. But like buying their book is another way of supporting it. Like if I really like someone's work, like I'm gonna own like 2 copies of Six of Crows because I love Six of Crows. Like I want to do that, and I don't understand like why that's like a big deal. But like I like totally agree with you, Cindy. Like I don't think that other people would question like you're feeling upset this day and you suddenly just want to go and buy a pair of shoes because that pair of shoes is going to make you feel happy. Like, why is buying a book any different?
I mean, some people like turn to alcohol or drugs, and some people turn to books. Pick your poison.
That was always my argument too.
Oh God.
Oh no.
It's like stop motion.
Well, okay, so something that I'm thinking is like why people have an issue or why people feel pressure to have a whole bunch of books in order to fit in on BookTube. And when I think about that, so personally, I've never felt this pressure, and I've also felt from watching other BookTubers that no one really puts that pressure on you. And I question if it's just self-inflicted and if it comes from a place of insecurity when you feel uncertain of yourself and the way that you consume books, you project that onto what you're viewing. But if you are confident in your bookish habits, like if you know, like, hey, I know that I can't afford like hardback books, but I'm fine with just paperback copies or used books or library books or whatever. If you know that and it doesn't bother you, then I feel like you wouldn't feel the pressure, because I've never personally seen any video where, a booktuber was like, if you don't own 200 books, you're a Pablo bitch. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there are examples that people can leave in the comments, because I'm just speaking from personal experience. I haven't seen any booktuber like actually purposefully put any kind of pressure. And I've actually seen more criticisms for booktubers owning a ton of books rather than booktubers that don't own any books or library books.
Yeah, I agree. I think with like, I'm just brought to mind with when I was a lot younger and I would watch like the beauty community and I would think, oh my God, like I want to own all this makeup. And none of them were like, you have to have this, like blah, blah, blah. It's just when you're watching these people, I do understand like feeling the fact that you want to be like them. So you want to have this like big makeup collection to show off. You want to have this big book collection to show off. I totally get the pressure that's there. I just think that sometimes it's given a bad rap, I guess. Like it's put in the wrong place. The blame, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's not any booktuber's fault. I think it just so happens that if you feel compelled enough to make a BookTube channel, that means that you're really obsessed with books. And most of the times, if you're really obsessed with books, you're obviously going to have a huge collection of it. And I think that's just like the correlation. But I think the solution to kind of ease any feelings of insecurities or pressures or whatever is to just be more transparent with where you're getting your books from, or having more exposure for booktubers who don't necessarily like buy new books every month. Like just seeing more different types of booktubers, like people who use like library book haul videos instead, or use book hauls or whatever. I think that would kind of like decrease the gap, so to speak.
Yeah. speaking as someone who I feel like I definitely felt that pressure when I first started. Like I thought I had to own a ton of books. I thought I had to have like this giant like bookshelf behind me, and like clearly where am I now? But like I felt that pressure. I thought I had to buy a bunch of books, and I was like lucky enough to be able to buy a lot of the books that I did want to buy. But then like for me, like personally, as I like got further along in my like BookTube journey, I started to realize like so many of the books that a lot of booktubers get are sent to us. I don't think that people understand how many of those books are sent to us, how many books I do not buy that I just receive. And I always mention, like, I received this book. I didn't pay for this book myself. Like, I got it from this place or this publisher or that place or whatever. And like my collection would not be like what it is if that was not the case. And yeah, so like speaking on like the pressure part of it, like I definitely felt it too. And I think you're absolutely right. It's something that is like self-inflicted. Nobody told me I had to have all these books. Nobody told me that's what my background has to look like. Nobody told me any of those things. I put that on myself until I got to a point where I was like, I don't need to do any of this, even though like I know I have it now. Like I don't need any of this. Like it doesn't mean anything to like my BookTube channel itself. Like it's not contributing to my content. Like I'm contributing to my content, and that's most important.
Yes, we get a lot of like unsolicited books, but we also a lot of people do request books. I've never because I'm too scared to I'm just like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be like, hey, sure you want to some books, but they because it's publicity. But I think about like a quarter to a third of the books on my shelf right now are ones that were sent to me, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that. Like, I'm very grateful for the number of books I'm sent, but like genuinely, it's at least like one book a week. So like, it's a lot. So and sometimes you have to email the publisher and be like, take me off of your list because I can't like take all these. Plus, I'm not going to be able to read them. Someone else deserves to be able to read them.
And that's also why we have a lot of unhauls as well, because there's so many random books, and also books like the name given to it, like after you first join BookTube or after you first discover BookTube, going out and buying a bunch of books, even if you're really interested in them, just ones that you've seen people mention. Like I went to a discount bookstore near me when I first discovered BookTube, and I purchased so many random books just because I had heard the name vaguely once in a video, and a lot of them are now gone from my shelves because never really wanted to read them. But again, it's the pressure that you put on yourself. There were questions earlier.
I just want to mention I did the exact same thing, which I've mentioned this before, but we all know we learned from Hailey's mistake when she spent her entire student loan on books that she never ended up reading, and now I'm still paying it back all these years later. Don't be me. Don't be stupid.
That's the message of like every Bookmarked episode. Don't be like me.
Don't be me.
Dude.
Oh my god.
But that's for that shit. It's like you.
That's a case of BookTube consumerism, doing bad things.
That was again, literally my first video is don't watch it. Just don't go and watch it, please. I'm sending people to it now, but don't actually go and watch it. It's my book haul where I've spent all of my student loan on all of these books. Oh, what struggles. Oh, Zoe, you're back. Welcome back.
Hi again.
Struggle.
I'm just here to pop in and out, you know, like when I think you're going strong, I just leave.
Perfect. Like you got this, guys.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Okay.
You keep us on our toes.
Honestly.
You know, always. Do you have any questions?
Yes, questions.
Let's check.
I have a question. How dare you? How dare you own so many books, flexing all these books?
Can't help it.
But honestly, in 2019, I do feel like I really want to minimize my book collection because it does bring me a lot of anxiety having so many unread books on my shelves. And I do want to start going to the library more and going to used bookstores. So I really want to kind of like normalize library hauls. That feels like a bad word because there's already so many library hauls on BookTube. But I want to see them do as well as traditional book hauls, because I feel like that's one way to kind of bridge this gap or kind of minimize the effects? Yeah.
And like a random booger, there's someone left.
Really? Wow, you could
No,
sell
I
it. It
know,
could be
I'm
a
just
famous booger.
Yes.
You could clone it, make a new friend.
I once got like a textbook from school, and there was like a booger wedged between the pages. So one of the things that people have left a comment on for that consumerism video I made is that people don't like library books because of the germs, which I think is totally fair. Like that's a fair reason because people are nasty.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
They are. Oh, someone already went to my book haul and I'm immediately anxious.
I have a question. I have a question that I'm curious to hear your answers to. I have an answer, but I want to hear what you guys think. So a common thing, like a common criticism about BookTube consumerism is that you are negatively impacting the environment by buying all of these books. Do you agree with that criticism, or how do you feel about it?
Well, I think the books are going to be printed either way.
But if there's less of a demand, they won't print as many.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I don't really have a thought on that because I don't
think
really know.
shipping is one of the worst parts of like the environmental impact.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that if nobody was buying books, that would be a terrible thing because then they wouldn't be printing any books and then books would be like non-existent, except obviously I know ebooks and audiobooks exist, but I'm talking about print books. So then bookstores wouldn't exist. That entire industry would die out.
I would be jobless.
We would be jobless. Which I think that's bad, but I agree with you that shipping is like a huge thing. I think that like using bookstores needs to become more of a thing. Like Amazon is like destroying that, which is an issue. Amazon's destroying a lot of things, but especially that right now. But yeah, I think that would like, I don't know, entirely just get rid of bookstores, which I think would be a terrible thing.
Yeah. A lot of books are printed on recycled paper too.
Really?
Like publishers have learned, like there's certain books that are just mass market paperbacks in particular, when they are supposed to go back to the publisher because they haven't sold. This is a little inside bookstore scoop for you. You don't even like actually physically send the entire book back. You rip off the cover and you send that back because it just is ending up being recycled anyways. So you throw the books in the recycle. So you can tell when a book has recycled paper, and oftentimes, I don't think I have any, but oftentimes the barcode will be like on the inner thing and it will say like, if this doesn't have a cover, don't sell it. So there's a lot of recycling that happens. It's like any other business though. Every business is quite wasteful as much as they try not to be. But there is recycling that happens still, which is good.
Wow, industry secrets.
Yeah. The more you know.
When I publish my book, I'm going to print it on toilet paper so you can just wipe your shit with it. And then it'll be useful to the environment.
Perfect.
I guess I was curious about if you thought that criticism was valid, because I kind of see it as not really a solid argument to make. Because I really doubt that the person making that argument that you shouldn't buy so many books because it's harming the environment actually really cares about the environment, because there are so many worse things that affect it.
Meat and dairy,
corporations rather than just a few random booktubers hauling like 40 books. And
it's all Hannah's fault.
Sorry. Today was like a lot warmer and I was like, screw you, Hannah. How dare you? You keep on receiving these books and you don't read them, and now we have to wear shorts in winter.
I'm sorry, I know.
Yeah.
Climate change is all my fault.
Yeah, but I feel like, oh no, my brain is starting to slow down. My last 2 brain cells are like dying right now, but I'm gonna try to power through. But I feel, God.
I think your brain cells are powering my Wi-Fi.
Maybe if I freeze and stop talking, I don't have to like continue this conversation.
I think it is valid though.
I have a really intelligent answer, and it's did you guys hear me? Oh,
No.
shit,
Oh,
man.
Wow, it was really eloquent.
Crazy.
You guys should have heard me. Like, it would have blown your fucking minds. Like, I
Oh,
honestly
God.
think I solved BookTube consumerism just now, but it's too bad that the Wi-Fi was lacking. Oh well.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Oh my
let's go
God.
further.
I do think it is valid though, and that's part of why I think definitely support your local businesses, support your used bookstores and libraries. But again, it isn't like the highest form, like the highest.
I feel like that
It's not the
argument-
most damage.
I feel like that argument is kind of like when everyone was like freaking out about plastic straws like killing the environment, and they were like, it's like destroying the entire planet. I'm like, okay, it's like this much of like
Yes.
pollution.
Like
Yeah,
it's still
so-
valid, but that's not gonna
yeah,
like
but, like-
solve the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you criticize someone for owning so many books, you don't actually care about the environment. You're just putting a reason, like
Yeah.
a moral reason to care about it. It's
Yeah.
kind of like how when people criticize like fat bodies
Oh,
for
she
health,
actually
it's like,
does.
no, you're not. You're just like upset that somebody is different from you. Like that's really all it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the tea.
Amazing.
Do we have
Let's
any
answer
other
some questions.
questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's just discussing in the chat now, and I can't find questions.
Oh my gosh, you all were so quiet. I thought I froze again. Whew.
No.
Just keep talking, everybody, so I'm not alone.
Good. Well, working at a bookstore, I find I also buy more books because I'm like, ooh, 30% off. Oh, now everyone knows my discount. Well, oops.
Oh my
But
God.
employee discount definitely, like when you work somewhere, obviously I always at least am inclined to buy the product at where I work. And it's obviously with books. I'm surrounded by books, and then I'm getting recommendations from like coworkers and customers too. And then I get that discount. So then I'm like, yes. And then I buy more books. So working at a bookstore, I buy way more books. That was just a fun fact for everyone that no one asked for, but I
like your fun
like
facts.
to fill the
My life
time.
has changed.
I
by
think it
knowing
has. You're different now.
I think I need a cigarette now after hearing
Oh
that.
my goodness.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Oh, here's a fun question from the Caffeinated Bibliophile on Twitter. How many unread books do you have right now? I counted the other day, and I made an Excel sheet of all my unread books because I'm like, I wanted to unhaul a bunch like, once I moved back home. But I think it was like, hold on, I will bring it up.
I have
I don't
like
think it was-
70 something right now, I think, and I used to have 200 before I did all those unhauls recently.
Oh my
Mhm.
I literally have no idea. I don't know why you guys count. Like,
I just like to keep track.
Oh, just the ones I wanted to unhaul. Not even, these aren't all unread, but just the ones I wanted to unhaul, 244 books.
Wow.
So yeah, I have a problem, and I'm trying to rectify that.
Did the sun just get warmer? Oh my God. This is oh my God, I can't deal with this. I have 5 books and I've read all 5 of them. So I have 100% success rate.
wow.
So Yeah.
Feeling it.
I
Show
guess
us up.
with that logic, that means I am the superior reader because we have shifted. I feel like our attitudes are shifting from BookTube consumerism to BookTube minimalism now. And I think that's why there's like kind of a what's it called? I can't remember the fucking word because my brain is dying. A backlash?
Counterculture,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Word. Yep. I think things sometimes. I can think of words.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm proud of your last 3 brain cells.
It was 2, but did it go up to 3?
Well, after Hailey's story about her book,
Yeah,
that
she
she
gained
won,
another
I
one.
gained 1 brain cell.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Changing lives one
Gotta power
stupid
up.
fun fact at a time.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Let's read more questions.
But I definitely,
oh, sorry.
oh no, it's fine. I think I'm moving towards minimalism. Just because I think I was loving acquiring books because that was when I was like going through mental health stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, this will make me happy. But now I'm just drowning in books. So I'm like, no, get rid of it. But also I think watching people's like small bookshelves, it brings me so much joy. because it's like
something
all their
fun to
favorite
it.
boys. Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
their favorite books that like, and probably ones that they've read like over and over. I'm like, wow, that's like your little Horcruxes. Like, oh, they're like so many notes in it too. A question. What do you think about like annotating books or just
I
like
love it.
loving books or just like, what do you think about not keeping them in perfect condition?
I love it a lot. I love when you can pick up a book and you can see like how many times it's been read, how many people have read it, like how much it's been loved. I love when a book has like wear and tear on it. I don't like water damage just because I find that's very difficult to read. But anything else, I love it because you can see just so many people have been so passionate about that book and they have read it so many times. So that's why I love getting used books too.
Oh, wow. I
I
did
mean,
say Horcrux.
What?
People said I thought Zoe said Horcruxes. I did. Ha ha.
Mhm.
I mean, I agree. I love annotating books. I like having like read books. I love putting tabs in my books. A reason I like having multiple copies is because I like to have one that's like nice and pretty, and then I like to have one that's like messed up and torn up because I've read it so many times. Yeah, so I love it. Just like do whatever you want with your book.
Yeah. I
I
wish I
started-
could annotate more. It's so
Mhm.
time consuming.
That's why I've been doing it with like old favorites because I've already
Mhm.
read it so many times. It's like it's more of like a hobby. Like I'm going so slowly through Pride and Prejudice. That's because I keep on adding notes or I keep on going back and then adding notes. But I think that I really just want to start like highlighting or something. Like I did that once in what was Turtles All the Way Down when I was talking with Hannah. We were just like going through the book and like highlighting parts that we really liked after
We
we both read
literally
it.
annotated the book together.
We did.
Annotated it together.
It's
It was really
beautiful.
fun.
I always think it's such like a big commitment to do that first annotation because it's like, what if I don't actually like it? So I think going back after I've read it and then annotating, that works more for me because I don't want to write in it and then think, oh, I want to donate this book. I don't love it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say the downside of only having library books is that you're not able to annotate it, which is
Yeah.
actually a lot of reasons why people like to buy their own personal copy.
Mhm.
And maybe like that's why people would prefer to buy it in a new condition rather than used so that they can make it their own version of
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why I don't see the problem with people only buying new books because just let them do what they want.
Yeah.
I do my only version of annotating is like just putting Post-it tabs on it.
Mhm.
And then I have to take them out when I return to the library. But I do actually keep like certain quotes I like in like Evernote, so I have that like to reference back to. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I personally don't reread books, and that's actually another reason why I don't like, why I don't buy books too.
That makes a lot of sense because like I love rereading books. Like I'll read them
Same.
like, all the time. So like that's why I like having them with me.
Mhm.
And also I like forcing my dad to read them.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
like
just
reading other people.
I'll read it and then I'll just like
Don't
leave it on his bed. I'm just like, I just did that with Crazy Rich Asians after we watched the movie together. I just left it on his pillow and he started reading it. So like
I think
it
the key
works.
thing about annotating books is that when you give it to someone else, they can see like the comments that you wrote on it. And then you can kind of like that other person can kind of experience it
Yeah.
vicariously through you as well.
The other thing I love
Yeah.
about that is when you go back and reread your own annotations, like sometimes like a year later and you're like, whoa, like this is what I thought about this book during that time. It's really cool. It's kind of like a diary entry. Yeah.
It
I
is.
guess my version is opening a library book and seeing like a random booger or bloodstain. And I'm like, wow, there's just so many sentiments and memories associated with it.
So
All
much.
these strangers I'm connected to.
I mean, you know a lot about the last person who read it. Like that's like a hidden message.
Yeah, like I borrow a library book and I see the last person who read it. I'm like, man, this person has shit taste, just like me.
Oh my goodness.
It was
I need a
beautiful.
break.
I need sleep.
Well, we should be wrapping up in like 5 minutes. So do we want to take? I'm sorry, I'm back. I have to keep.
I was gone for like 10 minutes.
I'm here.
Let's just go on forever so I don't have to go back to work.
Yeah, we're your business meeting. It's really in depth. We're really giving you your business knowledge.
Yeah. For those of you watching, I'm currently on a business trip right now. And I told my coworkers that I needed to be back in my hotel room for an online appointment because I didn't know how to explain what the hell this is to them, you know?
Oh, I like this one from Nikki on Twitter. How do you decide which books you want to own instead of borrowing, etc.? What's your decision-making process if you have one? I will usually get books from the library, books that like just look like trash. Like they look like ones I'm not going to want to keep. Like sometimes I read like cozy mysteries from the library or just like old books from like series I used to like back in the day, like The Click, ones that I don't really want to have in my possession, but I just want to revisit, or ones that I'm kind of taking a gamble on them, not really sure if I'm going to like them. And if I end up liking them, I just did this with Radio Silence. I just got the book from the library and I ended up really liking it. So I went and I purchased the book because I wanted it in my collection. So I think it's kind of like a safe way to, it might save you money in the long run.
You know what, Zoe? You're like that one guy that's always like hanging out with the girl, but he's like, oh no, we're just hanging out. It's not like a thing, you know?
I'm playing the field, That's so
yeah. I want to see like other books too, it's just not serious.
It's not. I'm not going to take the commitment,
Yeah, like you're good for a fling, but I don't want to like be with you forever.
Amazing.
I'm not going to spend money on this date,
Yeah.
I think I'm like, that's something I want to work on in 2019. Like, I will never be a minimalist. I like buying stuff too much because spending my money brings me joy until I get my credit card statement and then I want to cry, but that's fine. Anyways, I cannot be a minimalist. I have more than 70 copies of the same goddamn book.
70?
Yeah, I think I'm up to 74 now.
For Alice in Wonderland?
Yes. It was only like
it's so hot right now. Oh my god.
It's true. When I went to California, I had like 50. No, I'm awful. I am awful. I'm the person that all of their arguments about BookTube consumerism just directed toward me. Hate me. It's fine. Because I'm awful. But I'm going to try and be better in 2019 because I bought so many books in 2018 and then like I literally unhauled them like maybe the next month because I'm a horrible person. So just
I don't think that's horrible though. I mean,
I just feel bad when it's been like not that long and then I'm like, meh.
But do you feel bad because do you actually feel bad or do you feel bad because of what other people might think?
I probably feel bad because of whatever other people might think.
Thank
you for this therapy session.
Yeah, this is going to become a therapy session. Let's discuss the psychology behind.
Yeah, let's discuss my psyche.
Well, I feel like Zoe earlier when she was talking about her mental health and like buying books because she felt sad. That was like a cry for help. Every time she bought a book, it was a cry for help.
I mean, you're not wrong, and this is why I have commitment issues with books.
Oh my god. Amazing.
This is an intervention.
It is. For all of us.
Maybe I don't own books because I'm afraid of commitment.
Oh god.
A 4-way therapy session.
Hannah, why are you the way that you are?
Listen.
Oh my god.
We don't have the time to go into that. I go to therapy 3 times a week. Like,
let's make it 4.
Yeah. Do one more time.
I think that's so true though. There's always a reason behind buying something, and it's either something that brings you joy or something that you think will bring you joy and ultimately crushes you, like buying books has been doing with me. So whoa, okay.
And then if you think about it, buying, like choosing to buy a lot of books as opposed to collecting other things, is it also due to the escapism as well? Because the more books that you buy, the more different
escaping from this conversation.
The more different universes and characters that you can like involve yourself in without thinking about your real life. And that's
That's what I do for sure.
Stop it.
This is getting too real.
Oh my God.
Far too real.
This reminds me of the one time on one of my reading vlogs, someone commented being like, I wish you would show more of you outside the house. And I'm like, I haven't left the house in 4 days. That's what I feel like right now.
We need Cindy to create like an intervention type show. Just coming to your house, Hailey, and being like, why are you the way that you are?
No, thank you. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Do we have any more questions? Everyone's like, oh, my dad said it's too deep. Calm down, everybody.
Yeah, what other questions do we have about consumerism?
A lot of it is Cindy, stop attacking me. So, oh my gosh.
You can't hate me for saying the truth.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe you own 70 copies though. I thought I owned so many Jane Austen copies, and now I feel like chump change. You got a new.
Well, I mean, it's not new, it's used.
I was talking to her about it like before I knew how many copies she had, and I was like, yeah, I know. I have 5 copies of The Night Circus. Everyone thinks that like it's way too many, but like I love it. So like maybe it's excessive. And she was like, do you know how many Alice copies I own? 4. And then she leaves like 2 months later. She's like, do you know how many copies I have now? 70.
I thought you said 17 at first, and I was like, whoa, that's a lot. And then it was 70.
I don't buy books so that Hailey can buy more. Do you know that meme? You know that meme that shows like nasty hands? Like my hands look like this so that her hands can look like this. It's like, look at my empty bookshelf. It's not a bookshelf. It's just like a windowsill with 5 books. My bookshelf looks like that, so Hailey's can look like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh You're so kind.
I know.
You're really looking out for us.
Called out. Oh my God. Thank you everyone for dragging me on today's chapter of Bookmarked.
Oh my God, new BookTuber drama.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Here's one that's been showing up a lot from Rachel Marie Book Junkie. How do we deal?
Oh, we will never know what the question was.
No, I can read it. How do we deal with negative comments on our videos regarding our book buying habits?
I got the one on my one Instagram post, and since then I've realized I don't really owe anyone an explanation as to where I spend my money, and that's the bottom line of it. I ignore it. It's like any other hate comment. I'm not going to deal with it. I don't owe anyone an explanation for anything that I do with my life, with my time. Doesn't matter. It's my decision. So if you have a problem with it, don't watch my videos, watch someone else's.
Honestly, your
Just
answer
send them a link to this.
Energy. That was big dick energy right there, Hailey.
It really was.
One more brain cell just from you saying that.
You're far now.
I'm sorry for bringing it. Oh my God. Yeah.
So close to my book count.
I love it. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. But just send them a link to this video in the future and be like, well, Cindy said I do it because of this.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Amazing.
I think we're wrapping up now. And
on that note,
on this note, this joyful therapeutic note, let's talk about our BookTuber of the week. Our BookTuber of the week this week is Desiree from Libri Labra. She's currently setting up her 2019 challenge called Shelf Mastery, which is about really taking control of her shelves and getting rid of books that she has no want to read in the future, and just minimizing and like reading books. I don't know. Basically what I plan on doing in 2019. She explains it way more in her introduction video. I've watched all the videos. I'm just bad at summarizing things, and especially when there's the fear of me leaving without my consent. Okay.
You've been fine so far. There was only the one glitch in the past like 10 minutes.
I was feeling so confident.
Yeah, you were killing it, and then it was like, bye. Got too confident.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah, definitely check out Desiree. Check out Cindy, because Cindy is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. It was so much fun, and I really feel seen now. You know, you really got
I feel exposed.
Yeah, I feel exposed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
I love that.
I will leave her link down below as well as Desiree's, so definitely check them out. And next week we are going to be on Hannah's channel. What are we talking about next week?
We're doing gifting books. So basically, if you guys need any book recommendations, that's what it's going to be. So say you're looking for something for your dad who really likes war that sounded like World War II, you know, interested in
War
history is what I'm
stories.
trying to say. Yes. Then we'll try and recommend some books for you guys. So it's going to be helping for Christmas and different things that you can give people, because books are the gifts. They are the best gifts you can possibly give, because they are the gifts that keep on giving.
But also try and go to a local store and a used bookstore, because of the things that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Well, you can get, I didn't say where you had to buy the book. You just
Yeah.
get the book. Maybe write the book. That'd be so nice.
Write the book.
There you
I
go.
just-
We just
My
give
brain
people
went
prompt
somewhere.
ideas of things they can write for their like.
Yeah.
family member or, like,
You need to write this. This is gonna be, oh god.
Oh,
What
goodness.
struggles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Print the book on toilet paper to save the environment.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Take Cindy's
Multi-purpose.
advice.
Okay.
Just give them
Yeah.
a roll of toilet paper for Christmas and with no explanation. And then as they are unrolling it,
The
Yeah.
secrets will be revealed.
it'll be like a scroll
Yeah.
for your butt. Okay. So with
No.
that note, we're leaving now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wait, what's the takeaway? What's the moral of this live show?
Cindy can see inside your soul.
Your book buying habits are indicative of your mental health.
But also that's okay. Spend your money the way that you want to. It's your money.
Yeah.
But
Just
also
don't spend your
Also,
student loan. Don't
And
do
also,
it.
you can totally just start a BookTube channel, even if you don't own any books, or even if you don't buy any books, or even if you don't
Absolutely.
have a bookshelf in the background. Like,
Mhm.
it's totally fine. Yeah. I was about to say like more stuff, but then I realized I was getting too cheesy, so I'm gonna stop.
no, I
It
like
was
the
good.
cheese.
It was good.
No, no, it's too real. I'm uncomfortable.
Well, thanks to Cindy and her now 4 brain cells for joining us, and we'll talk to you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, ooh.